Welcome to the Neighborhood Watch Party podcast with George, James, and Drew. While we may essentially just be fans of the sport, we passionately debate it weekly and have recorded it here for your viewing pleasure. Check out our social media in the description to find us on other platforms. Please enjoy. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live episode of the Neighborhood Watch Party podcast. You thought last week was the only live episode. Nuh-uh. We're still in town. We're still together. The boys are here to bring you another exciting week of NFL content.
Heck, I think we might even pull off one more live one after this
Yeah,
one.
we might have. We might be here for a little bit.
We'll see how it time's up.
We'll see how it goes. We'll do our best.
Depends on George's busy schedule,
Very busy, man.
And that's the thing, we go to different places. We all do shit still, so we've got shit to do. But particularly today, we've got shit to talk about. And so today we've got lots of stuff. Again, the usual thing. We're going to be going over last week's games first, right after the scoreboard update. We'll talk about we've got a lot of breaking news for you today. A lot of more rumor topics for a little bit, but also some big changes going around the league late in the season that I think will be interesting to talk about. We also have our predictions for some big games coming up next week, our favorite teams. We even have a matchup between my boy on my right and my boy on my left here. We got a big clash between the Neighborhood Watch Party today, so it'll be interesting to see how things shape up. But again, we'll start the podcast like we always do. The scoreboard is back to how it was week one. George is on top again.
Wow.
I
actually am just seeing this for the first time, and I am proud of my performance.
George had a stellar week. The Texans pick, I knew as soon as you said it, I knew I should have picked that as well.
It was a nice
yeah,
pick.
I was like, and
Hey,
Jaguars.
Michael Graham,
Yeah, they ain't going.
you ain't going playoffs.
That's true. That's true. But George, Texans plus 3.5 and Jaguars plus 1.5, both win.
Loved the
Look at
Jags
the
pick,
it's
dude.
kind of funny. The one pick I felt George was most confident in.
The Lions.
That's treated him the best.
Yeah.
It's the one that ruins his second perfect week. The Lions minus 2.5. Chargers hold on. They did really good against the Colts. I thought the Colts were going to play a little more football there.
Man,
And the
Colts' offense
Bengals.
just looked
the
terrible.
Colts need to do whatever they can to get whoever they think is the best quarterback in this draft. Maybe we'll have that conversation when the draft gets closer, but
Yeah. And George's money lock, the Bengals, proved crucial this week.
And
really pushing them
they
forward.
almost blew that, by the way. They had
Yeah.
a 22-point lead.
Yeah, I was
and
gonna say.
They won by 4.
I looked
So,
at that. I thought it was 22-3. I thought the final score was, and James was like, "No, that got close." And I was
Not
like,
even
"Oh."
close.
22-18, yeah.
16 more points, or not 16, 15 more
Yeah.
points were scored.
But
Math. Fuck.
overall, that puts George at 18 now. Me and James had the same week statistically. We both put 2 points on the board. I got that Bengals pick that George had, as well as my Steelers after a beautiful Saturday night game, Christmas Eve.
Wow. We're
We'll
talk
talk
about
about
that
that later.
soon. That's good. That was a great game.
It was. The Bears disappointed me. I thought they were going to play a little more football against the Bills. And the Vikings, James and I both missed that pick, so we don't got to talk about that much. I was a little confident there.
That game should not have been that close.
Yeah, no,
but it was.
Yeah. My money lock from Will, it fell through, but it was right there. I mean,
Will almost had it.
Will
It was
almost
really
had
close.
it. It was a 6-point game.
Yeah.
The spread's 5.
And I'll
It's
tell you
crazy
what.
how Vegas does that.
That probably should have hit.
Yeah, no.
Minshew
'cause-
mania is real, man.
No,
They played well.
because
He
weren't
threw
they up by a
he threw
field goal?
he-
They threw a pick.
Cowboys were up by a field goal. Eagles
then-
were driving, so
they threw a-
you think to try to tie or score to win,
And they threw a pick in field goal position.
Cowboys got a field goal
and
out of it.
That it's just I watched that and I was like, oh god, I was like, just get down the field, just get down the field. But no, sadly, that didn't fall through. James's picks: Jaguars, he got with George. Saints, win a easy pick for James. This.
Okay, we'll get there
I
shortly.
bet on the Browns to choke, and guess what they did?
Yeah, but
choke.
Also the reason I
James
lost
might have bet
the house
against
pick 'em
James
this
might
week,
have
so.
bet against the Browns though, but he did bet for his team, and that didn't serve him well either.
No, although it was tied going into half. It did not.
I
end
didn't
that
realize
way.
it was. I didn't watch that game. I didn't realize it was tied.
Yeah,
going
it
into
was
half.
close.
It was such a close
Yeah.
game until the middle of the third quarter. Then everything went down.
Yep.
So
Brock
fast.
Purdy.
His lock with Seattle
No,
also.
Brock
fell
Purdy
through.
didn't even have that good of a game. It was just George Kittle's an animal, and Washington.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll
We'll
get
talk
there.
about
We'll
it.
get there.
But yeah, James' Seattle pick falls through, leaving it at 10 for the week. Niner at 14, George at 18. Again, we're still neck and neck. Any good week for one and a bad week for someone else puts us right back in the race. And so that's what we're going to be going into this week. However, now we can jump into last week's game. And I got 3 games that I thought were particularly interesting. and I'll let one of y'all start. I preferably would like that meaty one in the middle.
I'll start us out here.
Yeah, take one.
Packers Miami. Got to watch this game with the family. Christmas at 1:00 p.m. Eastern. We were all huddled around the TV. I think I ate my Christmas meal in about 10 minutes and went right back to the TV. I think it actually timed up pretty good with halftime as well, if I remember right. But this game had big playoff implications. The Packers are alive. To James's demise, the Packers are alive. And Aaron Rodgers being alive when it's coming around playoff time isn't a good thing. I think I'm going to be honest. I think the Dolphins lost this game because Tua got concussed at the end of the second quarter. There was like a specific play where Tua's head slams the ground. And if you look at his stats before the play versus his stats after the play. Before the play, he threw for like 189 and 2 touchdowns, no pick. And then after the play, he had his head hit the ground, he had like a 30% completion percentage with no touchdowns and 3 picks. Legitimately could be the reason that the Dolphins lost this game because they looked in control for a lot of it. But the Packers hung in there the whole game, and Christian Watson, the rookie out of North Dakota State's looking like he could become a stud here in a few years in the NFL. And Packers hold on for the dub.
Yeah,
I got to talk about the Packers kick returner real quick. The dude, animal. His last name's Dixon. I'm pretty sure he's a DB. But
dude, these defensive back kick returners, they're doing
Marcus
well.
Jones out of New England took one back this year, but this guy Dixon, he took one back up to the 9-yard line on the opening kickoff, and apparently he's had in the past 3 weeks he's had 3 kick returns over 60 yards before that one, and they didn't kick to him the rest of the game. They were literally squib kicked it and were okay with the Packers starting on the 40 because they'd rather the Packers start on the 40 than give this guy the ball. And that, if you want to talk about an advantage in a football game,
today's special teams, man. A lot of people underrate
teams, man.
But it can win you games. And it's ironic because the Packers for the last 3 years have been terrible on special teams. So the fact that the special teams was actually kind of a benefit for them in this game kind of at least shows some improvement.
And I think Jason Sanders missed a field goal for Miami. So special teams might have decided that game as well.
No, but I saw a lot of people talking bad on Miami after this game. Oh, this is what you get when you get a guy that just uses stats to coach. And I'm just like, I'm still all in on the Miami's head coach.
Dude, I love Mike McDaniel. Yeah.
I think their head coach is the only reason they're doing so well.
No, and that's what I'm saying.
I just think Tua is a liability.
See, and that's sort of what an opinion I hear around the league too, especially when we're talking about not only just Tua, but other young QBs like Justin Fields and even Jalen Hurts. Even though he's in MVP conversations, a lot of people still like to be negative about guys like him and Lamar. It's just I think they have the pieces there, but a question does beg to be asked. When you look at these two rosters, Miami should be winning that game.
Oh,
that's
easily.
my point, and that's my point. Is it shouldn't even be close.
All right, hot take. I think the Packers have underperformed to their roster this year.
Oh, sure.
100%.
I think the Packers have defensively. If you look at their roster, like Jair Alexander, Preston Smith, Quay Walker, their defense is kind of stacked. It's underperformed this year for sure.
It's a similar situation to
and
the
then
Browns.
Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon
has had a lot of heat on him this year.
A lot of pieces with not that much success. Yeah. And then you look at they got Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. That's an elite running back tandem. And then you have some rookies. They've had some injuries at receiver. They're definitely weak at receiver. But you still have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. I think the Packers have overwhelmingly underperformed to what their roster is. And there's probably an argument that I don't think Miami's roster, especially defensively, is as good as Green Bay's.
I think defensively Green Bay's probably a better roster, but another thing with Green Bay that's kind of underrated.
But their offense is no question.
Well, offensively is no question.
Tyreek Hill.
But
Green
Bay's O-line has also been extremely hurt the whole year. They're just getting healthy
Bakhtiari's back. Yeah.
Bakhtiari's back. I think Ellington Jenkins has played every position but center this year, so that definitely hurts too. I think like you said with the receiver room, George, that's a huge liability for them, especially since a lot of young guys don't know what Rodgers wants them to do. And I think now they're getting a lot more chemistry. They're getting a lot more people back. Lazard's staying healthy now. They have Randall Cobb back. Christian Watson's actually becoming a red zone threat. Dobbs is back. They're starting to have some consistency on the team.
Christian
I think that's
Watson
helping a lot.
9 or 10 touchdowns this year, and he's missed over half the games. It's kind of insane.
No, yeah. I think he's tied with Jahan Dotson for rookies leading the league with receiving touchdowns.
All right, you guys want to move on here?
But yeah, no. So George, like he said, he might have got to watch that game on Christmas. The game I got to watch on Christmas was this Absolute blowout.
Such a bad game.
Rams, Broncos.
Unfathomable.
I've never seen.
Such a bad
My
game.
family's all Steelers fans. We've got a couple Bengals fans. I've never seen a room of AFC North fans that aren't Browns fans cheer for Baker Mayfield so much. We were in our glory just watching them stack it up on the Broncos, and we were joking. We were throwing our "let's ride, we're cooking," you know. And the Nickelodeon Baker Mayfield deserves to be the MVP. Let me tell you. He's in elite company with Dak Prescott and Mitch Trubisky. The MVPs is a prestigious award, but I think one of my favorite moments is just when Russ threw that pick and Patrick
was commentating.
Oh no, that's an interception. No.
They're running the other way.
I don't think that's what he wanted to cook.
he said, I don't think that's what he wanted to cook.
When Patrick Starr is roasting you on Christmas Day NFL football, you know you're doing something wrong.
It was a beautiful time.
I
I mean,
feel-
the game was painful to watch, but it was funny. It
was-
was entertaining, to
it
say
was
the
enter-
least. Unless you're a Broncos fan. If you
Sure.
were, then that might have been one of the worst Christmases you ever experienced.
I don't know.
but-
At this point, like, I still think it would be funny to see Patrick Starr roast Russ at this point if I'm a Broncos fan. Because at this point, I'm angry at Russ, right?
I have a Broncos friend, and he's in one of me and James's fantasy football
Oh, yeah.
group chats.
Yeah, Zach, right?
And Zach Pryfogel. Shout out Dyfogel. Poor dude. God, like, I think being a Browns fan's rough. We've had some rough patches. This is like, you give up all your draft capital, you go
do.
and get your guy. And, like, I mean, you think the Browns gave up draft capital. You should look at Denver.
I think Denver gave up less than you guys did.
Yeah,
They also gave away
Deshaun
pieces,
cost a
though.
lot.
Yeah, but didn't
Deshaun cost us more money. Denver gave away more pieces.
yeah,
Probably.
but I think you gave away, what, 3 or 4 first-round picks?
Oh, just 3. They also gave away 3.
They gave away 2, I believe.
But they have more other picks. They also gave away Noah Fant. They gave away
Yeah,
a DB.
that
They
Noah
gave away
Fant is
Drew
good.
Lock.
Noah Fant.
Oh, Drew Lock, yeah. Drew
He
Lock.
looks better than Russell Wilson.
He hasn't played.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
But-
right. That's
Yeah,
right.
no, honestly, I really enjoyed this game. It was funny. I didn't even realize it was a Nickelodeon cast. Like,
No, although I will say, shout out to the Rams defense. They've been bad all year. They played really good. Like, I don't even blame Denver's defense for this game.
No Aaron
because-
Donald.
No Aaron Donald too. But like, I can't. Denver's defense has been really good all year. I don't even blame them for this because when your QB is just throwing 3 picks, unable to move the ball, it's just.
Yeah, you still let up 55 in an NFL game.
But like, dude,
you didn't play good.
But dude, what's the point that
the
you
whole
stop trying?
the whole Broncos are to blame for this game.
But, what's,
You know,
but at what point do you stop trying? Is you're down by like 30 points, and you see like that your QB is just
dude,
throwing
you don't.
picks. Like,
Did you
just
see that
stop
Colts
trying.
game a little bit ago, 33-0? You don't give up with a 30-point deficit. You lose football games if you give up a 30-point deficit.
Yeah, I'm saying, but like the difference is like the Minnesota Vikings were playing for something. The Broncos aren't playing for anything.
I don't know.
What are they
it would be
playing
nice
for?
to get a win, any sliver of hope, to beat the toilets. I don't know.
Tied. You're tied.
They're tied somehow.
But that's what I'm saying.
2
Maybe
weeks
they
left in the season.
maybe
they're
they could have
tied.
beat them. Maybe they could have beat them this week. One more thing before we get off this game, because I think this guy's had a really bad season all year, and he finally had a game. My dad was so angry he put him on his bench. Congrats to Cam Akers, putting
Yeah,
up 3
Cam.
tutties.
I think Higbee too.
Yeah,
Shout out
to the
shout out
Rams
Hig-
position players.
I need to shout out Higbee real quick because Higbee's sucking all year.
Yeah, I
Meant
dropped
He was
him.
on Zach Rezatar's bench
I dropped him.
in our fantasy football semifinal game, and now your boys moving on to the championship with a chance at 500s. 5 of them Bills.
All right, good
So
for you.
shout out Zach. I can't wait for
for you,
that.
George.
I can't
I
wait.
told you. I think
can't.
we're gonna have to talk about that
I
in
mean,
the middle.
Yeah,
Alright.
we'll talk about fantasy in the middle a little bit because I have some great updates from my squad.
And we'll see if we get to it because we got a lot more breaking news than
We
fantasy
do, but
news.
let's move through these games a little quicker.
Yeah, we
Last-
got Cowboys, Eagles.
Cowboys, Eagles.
I mean, the thing that I came away from with. God damn it, I can't speak. The thing that I noticed in this game is that the Eagles are just better than the Cowboys because the fact that they put up such a good performance without Jalen Hurts and almost won the game shows me they're better.
Hot
and
take.
that the Cowboys aren't clutch.
I think Gardner Minshew is a
good.
good quarterback.
He just
Here's what happened. The Cowboys played the Eagles for the first time without without Dak. They played him with Cooper Rush,
Yeah.
and the Cowboys gave him a strong run for their money. And now the Eagles play the Cowboys without Jalen Hurts, and they give him a strong run for their money. When Hurts and Dak are playing each other, if they meet in the playoffs, it's gonna be a good game.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, but I'd still give the edge to the Eagles. Like, I just think the Eagles.
Well, the Eagles are probably the best team in football at the moment.
Yeah, no.
So
I
I
wouldn't call
give the
them-
edge to the
they're
Eagles.
one of the best.
They're one of the best.
I think
Oh, yeah, I
Miles
forgot about
Sanders.
the Commanders.
Miles Sanders is making a pretty good season. Jalen Hurts.
Pro Bowler.
Jalen Hurts having a really good season. You got Devontae. You've got
31 for
Brown.
Smitty.
AJ Brown. You've got Ertz. You've got.
No, not Ertz is on the team anymore.
I mean,
Goddard.
you
Goddard.
can make
Goddard.
the same argument with Dallas. You got Dak. You got Dalton Schultz is playing like a top 4 tight end in the league right now. Zeke and Pollard are an insane. The Cowboys' backup running backs in the Pro Bowl right now.
Yeah, but I trust the Eagles
CeeDee
coaching
Lamb.
staff way
CeeDee
more
Lamb
than
in
the
that game had
Cowboys.
like 8 catches for 106
CeeDee
and 2
Lamb's a monster.
touchdowns. So they're both talented rosters. They're both 2 coaches that Nick Sirianni's
Nick
never.
Sirianni is a much
he's
better
younger.
coach than McCarthy. I'm gonna say
McCarthy
that.
has the playoff experience, so Sirianni has 1 playoff game and it's a loss.
I mean, yeah, but what good has that done for McCarthy since he won a Super Bowl? Nothing. It's literally been nothing.
All I'm saying is we're gonna have 2 coaches that are gonna know what's up. We're gonna have 2 talented rosters, and
gonna
if
be-
they get to meet each other, it's gonna be a good game.
That's
it'll
gonna
be a good
be
game.
prime time football.
But going back to the
It's gonna
Minshew
be-
point, George, Gardner Minshew should just be a starter in the league. Like,
Absolutely.
he's good enough to be a starter.
Absolutely.
I mean, even when he was on the Jaguars, the
I can
fact
name-
that team was actually somewhat decent when he was playing.
I
is
can name
incredible.
10 quarterbacks who started this week that should not be starting over Gardner Minshew right now.
Yeah, I mean, probably.
Easily. Would you like me to?
No, I mean,
But-
but I think that's. I think that's.
Yeah,
just
it was just a good game all
Well,
around. There's not
no.
much to critique there. And so I think we could get into our favorite teams. You know, I think we'll start with you two. You've got a little disappointing games before we get into the glory that was
We're gonna make
the
this-
50th
Yeah.
anniversary.
We're gonna make this quick. We as in the Cleveland Browns.
George
we
owns
have-
stock in the Cleveland.
I mean, I do pay for season tickets every year.
George is part of the team.
Um,
He's actually their backup O lineman.
I mean, do you get VIP access to tickets and anything at First Energy Stadium? I didn't think so. We, the Cleveland Browns, I saw the stat on Twitter today, have the worst rated run defense in the league, number 32, and it's by a lot. There's like this whole efficiency number. There's like this.
very
There's like
excited.
there's like how they do offensive and defensive efficiency. If you're 0.0, you're base neutral. When you're in the negatives, you're in the bottom half of the league, and when you're in the positives, you're in the top half of the league. The Browns are negative 27.16. The next lowest is negative 19, and then there's like a group negative 19, 18, 17. We're negative 27. I don't know what exactly that means or how it's calculated, but I know proportionally that means we suck.
I mean, you let Alvin Kamara actually have
So
a good game.
when
this
you
year.
take the worst run defense,
Stop doing
He's not
when
good.
you take the worst run defense in the league and create a football game where you have to run, the other team has to run the football, you lose. And I should have put that together in the last podcast, but I didn't because I'm a Browns homer. So we lost because we have the worst run defense in the NFL, and it is as simple as that.
Yeah. I mean, fair enough. You guys choked. You know, you had a chance to win. You didn't. You know. I mean,
That's pretty much the
Yeah.
analysis. Yeah,
That's-
that's
yeah.
Browns football right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
I'm wearing my Nicholas Jamal Chubb jersey.
Didn't he actually have over 100
Did he get 100 yards?
Don't you guarantee wins when he has over
Nope,
100
that's
yards?
not how that works.
Pretty sure you said that.
No, it's
last
a guaranteed
podcast.
loss if he doesn't have 100.
Oh, okay.
100 doesn't guarantee we win.
Just
not
make sure
100
it's just not
guarantees
100.
we
If you
lose.
don't get there, you have no
I mean,
chance
let's
of
see what-
winning.
Chubb was actually running pretty okay in this game, but we kept throwing the ball. Why are we throwing the ball when the run's working? Let's see how much Chubb ran for.
Let's say this before we move on.
Chubb ran for 92. That's why we lost.
Oh, there it is.
He only averaged 4
He
yards
would
a
have ran
carry.
8 more yards.
You know,
it would've
Chubb
been
was only-
in the end zone.
Yeah.
Chubb was only averaging 4 yards a carry, but we couldn't give it to him in the freaking freezing conditions. We had to throw the ball deep. God.
That was-
And the most disappointing part is Deshaun put some incredible balls out there in that last drive. One hit Donovan Peoples-Jones in the freaking chest plate in the end zone, and he dropped it.
I feel like this is a
Amari
recurring theme.
Cooper dropped a touchdown, and then David Njoku dropped a first down.
It was kind of cold. It was chilly out there.
Elite receiver core.
If I'm paying you $15 million a year to catch a football and it hits you in the chest plate, you got to catch it.
I
See,
mean,
that's
hey,
the
for
thing with
wide
Deontay.
receivers, that's a bargain,
That's
though.
the thing with Deontay. At least Kenny's throwing the ball all the way above his head, you know. Like, at least Deontay's reaching for it. Like,
Deontay's really trying.
Donovan Peoples-Jones does not belong to be a number 2 in the league. He's a number 3. He makes his big play here and there. You could get a little gadgety with him. We'll give him some end arounds and stuff. There's no way the number 2 cornerback on an opposing team should be lined up with DPJ because there's a reason he was a 6th round pick.
He was a 6th round pick. Wow.
Yes.
All right, but I guess we'll just move on to my game then. Honestly, I know the score looks really bad, and I completely understand that. But they actually played a really close game for most of it. Like, they were tied going into half, which I did not expect. They actually played the third quarter pretty close until midway through when Heineke started turning the ball over on back-to-back drives, which when that happens, you can't win. We also, again, for 20th time in like 7 weeks, can't convert in the red zone because that is Washington's issue on offense. They can drive down the field, but they can't actually score. So, the recurring issues keep coming up. But I will say the part that I was optimistic about, there are 2 places. One is that our defense actually played pretty well against the 49ers for most of the game. Even our scheme wasn't that bad against them. It just ended up happening that the 49ers have a great position group, or just a great skill group in every position except quarterback, and they're eventually just going to beat you, especially when you have starters out. I also want to say the fact that Chase Young came in and played, he was only supposed to play 10 to 15 snaps. Dude played 30 and actually looked relatively good considering it was his first game back in like 400 days. I mean, he looked pretty good.
A lot of days.
Over a year since that man has played football, and he actually looked pretty good. There were a few plays that he really showed some athleticism. His knee looked good.
It's good to see him back.
Honestly, when Rivera was waving him off the field, he waved Rivera off and was like, "No, I'm just gonna keep playing. I want to play." And
Chase is one of the few cards in Madden that I know is like busted, and you got to use on the edge.
Yo.
And like even despite his injury, like they keep just making him one of the most busted players. In
because
Madden.
he's an athletic freak.
No, and that's
if he
the thing,
actually plays, he's good. It's just he needs to fucking play. But he played. That was good. We'll get into this more later. But Wentz came in the fourth quarter. They benched Heineke after back-to-back fumbles. Heineke didn't even have that bad of a game, but I've said this last week, they've been waiting to put Wentz in for a while. They finally got to a point where they felt like it was justified. They did it, and for all intents and purposes, Wentz did not look bad in the drive that he was in the game for. Went 12 of 16, 123 yards and a touchdown. Actually handled pressure really well considering how bad he was at handling it early in the year. And they were blitzing him hard. Like I think blitzed almost every play that he was in. So the fact that he could actually handle that was pretty impressive. And Wentz just got named the starter today. So we'll get into that topic later. But Washington didn't even though they lost by 17, which is a bad number to lose by. They lost to arguably who I think is the best team in the NFC. So I can at least understand it. And I was optimistic by some of the things I saw.
I just have to make a quick anecdote from this game. In maybe one of my favorite NFL press conferences of the year. And that is George Kittle admitting to stealing Ray McLeod's touchdown on that deep post. And not only admitting that he stole the touchdown, but that in practice he knew he could steal the touchdown because he knew that if Washington was in a certain defensive look, there would be no safety help to that side of the field. And even though he was supposed to flatten out, he could just keep running straight.
All right, man. People get beat. It happens.
No, I'm not saying it's like Washington's fault or anything. It was like they schemed it.
It is very
They ran this exact play in practice, and Kittle's like, I know that he's going to go to Ray with this ball. But I know if I also run where Ray is going to go, I could get it.
This is why the 49ers are good, man. The 49ers
are actually playing street ball out there. Like
the 49ers are just an insane team. That's why I said,
I've seen plays where Brock Purdy pump fakes 3 times.
Dude, I love
that. That's planned every time. Like, it's planned. It's
the impressive part about that is he has time to pump. He has enough time to pump fake 3 times and throw the ball without being sacked.
That pocket is so beautiful. Oh my god.
Trent Williams at left tackle is I don't think a stone wall does him justice. You could get around a stone wall sometimes. He's like a Donald Trump build the wall kind of.
I said, dude, the 49ers...
A fortress at left tackle.
Like, Washington didn't lose that game because they were necessarily out-schemed. Were they out-schemed? Yeah, but it wasn't that big of a difference in coaching. They lost the game because their personnel just cannot compare to the 49ers personnel, which is most of the league. Most of the league doesn't have a team that can compete with the 49ers.
I wonder what those PFF grades were on those 2 safeties, Nider.
One of them didn't play.
That could be it. Hey, if you lose a top 2 safety in the league, according to PFF, it could be impactful.
I will say, considering Cam Curl also is basically their starting middle linebacker, the fact they basically just lost 2 positions with one guy, and they look terrible when he's not in. So
Fair enough. No,
he's
Is he playing this week?
He is back this week.
you don't need to tell the Steelers. You don't need to tell me about how different a team can look with one guy out the field. Like T.J. Watt.
Sad. James, what time is that? Is that a 1 o'clock game?
I'm pretty sure it's 1
Oh,
o'clock.
I'm not going to be able to watch it with you. I was going to say it would be great to be over here and watch it with you.
Yeah, it's all right,
But
man.
I think I'm doing some stuff with family earlier in the day.
Yeah, fair enough. But let's move on to the one of our favorite teams that actually won a game.
Some glorious motherfucker.
Hey, can I get one out? Can I get one over here?
What do you want?
A little dude.
We're talking the wrong
We're
team.
talking the Steelers.
Oh,
Bro.
I thought we were going to the damn
No,
Jaguars.
we got to give Niter his time.
Oh,
Why do you think I'm so excited?
I mean, Jacksonville played great too, but
Let me tell
we'll
you.
get there.
I'm going to get my Duval in about 3-4 minutes here, and it's going to be glorious.
All right. It was a cold day in Pittsburgh, Ohio. We bought
Pittsburgh, Ohio?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was in Ohio. I was thinking Youngstown.
You were at the game.
Well, I was in Youngstown originally. It was cold in Youngstown too when I trekked to Pittsburgh, PA. I was in a Santa Claus outfit
Sure was.
with a big Steeler gold chain.
He was giving
They
gifts
didn't-
of wins.
They didn't get me on the Jumbotron, which was disappointing.
Ridiculous.
I agree. It was very.
I mean, there was a few Santas on the Jumbotron.
There were there were many Santas. I was supposedly on the celebration. The lady in front of me, or on the TV, the lady in front of me said her students saw her on TV and they were like, was that the big gold Santa behind you? And so apparently I was on it somewhere. I don't know. But
I didn't see him on my broadcast.
I did not see you either, but it's all right. It happens.
It was not a pretty football game. It was like chilly. It wasn't as windy as it expected it to be, but you obviously saw by the conditions that it wasn't pretty. But despite how terrible the weather was, like I said last week, there was something in the air about this game. Franco Harris's spirit would not allow us to lose, and like you just felt it. Even though we weren't looking good at half, I don't know if you guys got to watch the jersey retirement ceremony because I think they broadcast
yeah.
they broadcast when Franco's wife started breaking down. I felt the whole city wept, and I knew the boys were coming out there and getting that dub. We started playing football. I think there were some pretty things all around.
What were you playing in the first half?
They're playing flag football.
Here's the thing. I think I actually have a really opposite view on this game. I think everyone's hating on the Raiders for throwing the game, and I think the Raiders did really good. And I think everyone's saying the Steelers had a really underperforming first half, but I think it's also the others. Let's look at how this game started. Game starts, the Raiders get the ball, they take 9 minutes off the clock. Like it's just like more than a quarter of the first half is gone.
Yeah.
In one drive. And there's some unfortunate plays, particularly the 3rd and 16 that really pissed me off there. But at the end of the day, we have a decent first half. We do a lot of driving. We get to 2 field goal opportunities, just miss both. We get another field goal in. The issue is it's not like we're not driving. It's cold. It's very obvious Kenny having issues. There are very particular points where you see key mistakes. There was the first field goal we missed. Freiermuth was wide open. Ball slips. Kenny throws it a bit high. Like that should have been a catch. We probably would have got a touchdown if we got the 1st and goal there. I hope, or at least hopefully made that field goal.
No, yeah. There was a scoring opportunity.
There was the Deontay drop later. That was.
I think Deontay
Johnson dropping footballs.
No,
He
there
had a
was,
good game
or maybe it
overall,
wasn't
though.
Deontay.
I won't lie,
No,
I did not
Deontay.
get to see a lot of this game. I was in the car for a lot
No,
of it.
and that's the big thing. There are 2 things I'd like to talk about here. Everyone was really okay to just write Kenny's interception off because he hasn't thrown any in a while. But this might have been his worst interception yet. Like the dude just threw it to the defense. Like
there was a receiver. He just overthrew the receiver.
no,
right?
like
wasn't that the play?
I thought like it wasn't. It was way behind the receiver, and like there was just a guy coming for it. Like it didn't look like it was intended for anybody.
It could have just been a bad.
It could have just been from the view I was looking at it. Too.
No, I mean it was definitely Pickett's fault. I just don't remember the play exactly now.
No, and the thing is, everyone wants. So there's that, and I think we should be more critical of Kenny because I think there are a lot of simple mistakes Kenny made this game that we could have won this game by like 15, 20 if Kenny wasn't just missing his easy throws and we weren't dropping easy balls.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, though, you also missed 2 field goals, so
No,
it's kind of like...
There's that, and that's my point. There's a lot of mistakes just in general on offense.
It was also really cold. Like, that's like tough conditions
and that's
to play in.
what I'm
It's his
saying. It's
first
expected.
time.
It's expected. The thing for me, though, that everyone else is being critical of, and we'll again talk about this later, everyone's being real critical of Derek Carr. But again, you got to remember, first, like we just said, there's all this weather stuff going on. Second, his receivers were dropping balls. Those first, not even talking about the interceptions yet, he put the ball in Devontae's hands many a times, and Devontae just went out of bounds too early. Or like there were a lot of mistakes that I was like, I thought Devontae was going to kill us, and I watched the play, and I was like, oh, Devontae just killed us. And they're like, oh, out of bounds. Like, oh, thank God. Like,
No, I mean, Derek Carr didn't have a great game, but like,
No.
2 of his interceptions were just tip balls.
and that's
that
the
his
thing.
receivers should've caught.
The first interception, right in the tight end's hands, bobbled it.
Yeah, like...
The second one, right in the white dude's hands. I forget the
Renfro?
Yeah, Renfro.
yeah.
Raiders
That
white
should have
dude.
been, I mean...
It's not Thielen. I can.
It's not Thielen or Cooper Cup. Renfro.
That's what I'm like. Renfro, who is great in my opinion. Like I think he's
And he went to Clemson.
He's a very good slot receiver.
Very good slot
He's a
receiver.
very good slot receiver.
another really silly drop tip. The third one also intended for Renfro. Renfro like stops running a little bit and pulls up a bit. Where I think if he just went and tackled the receiver and got the PI, they wouldn't have had a problem.
I mean, I think that one you could argue that like
That's Derek's fault. He overthrew it. Yes.
Yeah, like that one's there. I mean, even
But-
the
but-
second one you can argue was a
But
bad
it was.
throw,
Here's the
but
thing.
still, it
you're
wasn't that
in a
bad.
game, 30 seconds left. You got to take risks. If Renfro catches that ball, it was a one-on-one guy, and like they're at the 20, or Renfro breaks the
It
tackle
also
and they
seemed,
get the
I
tutty.
mean, I could be remembering the play wrong. It also seemed to me that Carr thought Renfro was running a different route.
Yeah.
and
And
then
Renfro again pulled up a little bit,
Yeah, like-
and then Carr was already fucking launching
yeah,
it.
which I mean, it's a new offensive system. Renfro has been out like the whole year, so there's definitely probably
and the
some
big thing too is you're
miscommunication.
probably not planning deep balls like that for a cold game.
Yeah.
Like
No,
that's
yeah.
probably an old play.
I mean, neither team looked pretty
Good.
good.
And I don't think you were going to in that weather, but it was a beautiful ending, I gotta say.
It was a good win for the Steelers.
It was. We went from 50 years ago. We had the immaculate reception, and when I saw us get down to the 14-yard line, I knew it was going to 14 for that beautiful play. It was written in the stars. Franco's another immaculate, not nowhere near as good as the first, but
I
an
will say,
immaculate reception to end this.
yeah, and
the game.
Not, of course, but I will say
It was so.
Pickett didn't look great for that game. But if there was one thing that
I
gave you
disagree.
hope, well, if there was, well, for the most of the game that I saw,
Oh,
Pickett did not look good. But the last drive of that game,
It's an okay performance by our podcast.
Yeah.
no, but I'm saying like the last drive of like Pickett's like game-winning drive
Oh,
basically
my God.
was incredibly good. Like that was like okay, you can be a good starter in the league kind of drive,
That's
and
a
that gives you and that shows you
glimpse
something.
into your future.
Can I tell you about that last drive? Why is it that we can only run routes on the last drive of the game?
Well,
Like the
Is it a
if you
motivation
watched that
issue?
whole game, James, you saw us throwing behind the line. Like 3rd and 8, we threw behind the line of scrimmage.
I just think Canada in that drive had really good play calls.
No, but that's my point. This is my
and
issue.
Pickett made the correct
Canada
decisions.
has shown that the plays are in the playbook. Like they're there. He has them.
Oh, Nider, I understand. It's the same thing with Scott Turner. It's just sometimes they'll pull out a drive that like is immaculate, and you're like, oh my god, how do they do
No,
this?
but it's
and
just
then other
like
ones
this
you're like,
happens
what are we
every
doing?
week.
Yeah,
Like we have like 2 good offensive drives, and the rest of the time it's like we don't know what a football is. And
But
it's,
either way,
I was
Kenny Pickett had
seated-
a great drive.
yeah,
Canada looked good.
I was seated right below Canada. I saw his little bald head peek over from the guy next to him. He had his hat on in the middle. We had the whole section chanting. And we were memeing on him the whole time. We were booing him to begin with. We eventually were like, let's try doing something he hasn't heard before. He'll might get scared. And we started, go Matt, Canada, go Matt. We started cheering for him. He probably's never heard that in Steelers Stadium. We did everything we could to get this guy to do anything different. And
He pulled his phone out. He started recording.
He's
like,
like,
see, they do
I gotta
like
show
me."
this
Tomlin,
I gotta
look.
show this to my kids. This is the proudest work day I've ever had.
They don't want to fire me. They want me to stay.
Oh, I hope I didn't just keep his job. But again, good game overall.
Yeah.
But now we have time for a little 1, 2, 3. Duval! Because we had a big win over a very tough team that I didn't think that it was going to be this big of a win over,
New York
honestly.
Football Jets.
Yeah, they're playing some ball. I mean, thank God Zach Wilson isn't, but
I was gonna say it's only Zach Wilson that's not playing ball on that team. Zach
tell you
Wilson
what.
does not know what he's doing.
I got to watch a good portion of this game, and Jacksonville's gonna win this division.
Oh, Jacksonville's just playing well. They're just good. Like, it's incredible.
I mean,
we picked a good
Dougie
watch
P.
team. We picked a good watch
We
team.
did, yeah.
When we picked this watch team, this Jacksonville team sucked.
No, yeah, we picked them when they were bad. We were like, oh, maybe they'll like.
We're like, we get to say Duval on
No,
the
I was just
microphone.
like, we get to see Duval and watch Trevor Lawrence. Like, it'll be fun.
And now I think we got ourselves a playoff team to watch.
We got ourselves a playoff.
Trevor
team to
Lawrence
watch.
played. So we have to preface. This game was freezing cold. It was like cold rain, ice falling down all game, 100% precipitation the whole game, and Trevor Lawrence managed it like a true pro.
Yeah, he didn't look great, but didn't look bad. He just did what he had to do.
He did everything he had to do, and they just controlled the game. They ran so many more plays than the Jets, it wasn't even funny. But the Jets, on the Jets side, it's as simple as Zach Wilson's a bust. And they realize this, and I'm actually very happy that the Jets aren't like going to waste a lot of time. He's not even dressing this week. He started for them last week, and they're literally telling him not to dress.
I mean, no, but let's
Robert Saleh said Mike White starting, Joe Flacco's Joe Flacco's backup, Zach Wilson isn't dressing.
No, but let's think about it. I mean, just look at the stats of this game. Zach Wilson played for about for 3 full quarters basically, and a little bit into the fourth, I believe, if I'm right. He was 9 of 18, so 50% completion for 92 yards and had an interception. He had a QBR of 5. And then
not okay by podcast standards.
The CFL QB Chris Streveler came into the game and in less than a quarter, was 10 of 15, threw for 90 yards, and had a QBR of 71.7.
And the Jets have weapons.
Yeah, like they're not terrible on offense.
They have Garrett Wilson, they have Elijah Moore, they have Corey Davis. Like, that's not the worst receiving room in the league.
And I forgot, Streveler also ran for 50 yards. Like and this dude isn't like a starting QB in the league by any standards, but it just shows you, wow, if the Jets put anyone else at quarterback, their team can have a competent offense. It's ridiculous. Zach Wilson just cannot perform, and I'm, like you said, George, I'm happy, and Nider, I'm happy that they're realizing that Zach Wilson is not working, and they're just giving up. They're just like, all right, we're done. This dude doesn't work. Mike White's starting. We're just moving on next year. We effed up. He was a bust. He's a Jamarcus Russell bust. We're good. Over. Because their defense is good. Their O-line's all right. They have a good running back room, and they have a great receiving room. Or at least a good receiving room. Garrett Wilson's really good. Elijah Moore's really good. So, with that team and a competent QB, they can win.
Yeah.
Anything else to add there? I mean, Trevor Lawrence also looked really good scrambling in this game, too.
No, again, I didn't get to watch this game, sadly. I didn't get to watch as much of this game. But overall, I just think they're picking up right at the right time. And that's what you got to do right when you get into these. Especially for, I always feel like this is where, the North teams start getting stronger once things get colder. Mm-hmm. To see Jacksonville heat up at the end of the year is fun.
No, Jacksonville, I mean...
It scares me too.
Is the right coach for
the
that
last
team.
playoff game that I went to was a Steelers Jacksonville game, and it was not entertaining to watch the end. I mean, we almost got back into that, but Jacksonville, they've always been this sort of fringe team. I feel like where.
No, they've been pretty bad.
They've been bad for a while.
They had that 1 year they were really
recently,
good. Recently,
since Minshew and Fitzmagic have come there recently.
I don't think was there?
I feel like Fitzmagic was there.
Well, ever since Bortles, Bortles' last good year.
Yeah.
After that, they collapsed, and then we're just bad for.
But they started to bring it. My point is, they started these past couple of years, at least these past few years, they've started to. I feel like at least start making the right moves, picking up some good pieces, and I think.
No, I mean
we see that starting to come to fruition now.
Jacksonville was made fun of for a lot of their offseason acquisitions, and a lot of them are showing up to be really, really good for them. And I gotta say, I think Doug Peterson saved Trevor Lawrence's career because he did not look good last year. He looked really bad, and a lot of people were were saying Urban Meyer's probably at fault, but just. The eye test, he looked bad. And this year, under 1 year with a good coach, an offensive coach, he's showing real promise. So, good on Doug Peterson for leading this team. In his first season there, to probably a playoff appearance. And honestly, they could win a playoff game. They're good enough to win a playoff game. I mean, they beat Dallas, which is a team we all think is a pretty solid contender that can do work. So
I think the big thing with Jacksonville, though, is we have seen them that they either show up or they don't.
yeah, that's pretty true. Yeah.
And I mean, and you don't get a second chance to show up in the playoffs. So that's the big issue.
Yeah.
I think, but at the end of the day, I think that's a pretty good way to wrap up last week's games. Lots of good stuff, lots of good Christmas football, and I think we've got some good stuff coming forward. Going forward, breaking news. I guess I want to just mention this now that I'm thinking about it. We don't have anything written here, but I figured we'd talk about this now just before we get into the rest of the NFL news. Is there any big CFP talk heading into this week?
I mean, both games are happening this
Both
weekend.
That's
games
what I'm
are
gonna
happening
say.
this weekend.
I think Michigan beats TCU.
I do too.
Oh yeah,
I
don't think
they're
anyone's
just better.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think TCU might give them a game, but I think Michigan's just a better team.
I don't think.
I think TCU will be let to give them a game in the first half to keep things entertaining.
I was going to say the same exact thing. I think TCU could even be winning at halftime. I think Michigan wins by multiple possessions by the end of the game.
14, 20 points. I predict that.
I'm just saying it's not a straight blowout for the whole game. I think
No, that's because I just think that's because it's a New Year's game.
I mean, TCU hasn't lost all year. They do have a competent team. They have a Heisman Trophy finalist at quarterback. I like their head coach a lot.
That is true.
They're simply
that team is gritty. They play hard.
TCU.
That's not
I saw a
impossible.
stat yesterday, and it was like the Michigan, Ohio State, and Georgia talent. It's like all these 5 stars and 4 stars. TCU was like 1 5-star and like 2 4-stars.
Yeah.
They're simply not as talented as Michigan.
No, I don't think they win.
They haven't played as
but-
physical as competition as Michigan. Ohio State, Georgia. There's a reason that the Peach Bowl got moved to 8 from 4 o'clock. There's a reason.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean,
The two
That's a
they're two
slugfest.
uber talented teams that both have playoff experience
Probably should
across
be
the
1 and 2.
board.
Probably should be 1 and 2.
Like
Ohio State
and
lost to
until
Michigan.
Ohio
They
State
can't be.
lost that mission, until Ohio
yeah.
State fell apart in
Yeah.
the 1 quarter in 1 game.
No, I was gonna say I watched that
they
game.
were the consensus number 2 team in the
Ohio
country.
State.
No,
is
Ohio
the better
State,
team.
Ohio
in
State
my
is more
eyes.
talented
Yeah.
than Michigan. They should have won that game. They didn't. We don't need to go into that. But this game could be for the championship right here. Like I think whichever team comes out of this game is going to win the college football playoff.
I agree with you.
Oh sure.
And I think OSU has a good chance. Like a lot of people are just going to say Georgia's
don't
going to
see-
run
you're
away.
right. I don't
100% legitimately have a chance to win the football game.
Yeah, that's going to be a game. It's going to be a 1-score game to me.
Want to talk a little fantasy real quick while we're here?
Yeah, we'll get that too.
Because
We'll get,
I mean,
that's
George
just you.
has to brag
I
for
don't
a
have- I don't
second.
have
But wait, do
anything.
we want to make predictions on the just real quick predictions
Quick
on what we think's
predictions.
going to happen?
I'm a homer. I got Ohio State over Georgia in a tight game, barn burner, and I got Michigan two possessions over TCU.
I've also got Michigan 2 possessions over TCU. But give me, I think I wanted to pick Ohio State to save my life here, but I think Georgia's gonna win by like 1. It's gonna be real sad. It's gonna be like
mean,
You're not welcome to come watch it.
I didn't plan on watching that game. I'm also gonna be in Disney. I don't mean to be like that. I'm gonna be doing other things on New Year's.
No, fair enough. I mean,
I will not be doing anything else on New Year's besides sitting in my house. And I think I'm going to be stuck with some family at my house. That's okay. They're not allowed to talk. If they make a snarky comment, I will leave.
George will be watching at my house, so.
I have YouTube TV on my phone. I will go sit in the woods. And if the squirrels start chirping, like they're gonna get like
The gun's coming out.
I mean, yeah, but for me, I think Michigan beats TCU. I think it's a 1 possession game though. I think TCU actually gives them a chance, gives them a game. I think TCU is a gritty team. A lot of people underrate them. They played in a lot of close games, so I think they know how to keep it close. As for the Ohio State Georgia, I'm also gonna be a homer. I think Ohio State pulls out an OT.
Someone had to pick Georgia.
OT.
I'm sorry.
I
Someone
think-
had to pick
I
Georgia.
think- honestly,
no one had to pick Georgia.
The way I see this game is that Ohio State takes the lead late. Georgia comes back, ties it. They go to OT, and then Ohio
who
State
wins?
wins it in OT.
How? We got a field goal. We're running on touchdowns. 2-point
I
conversion.
think we go to 2-point conversion. And Ohio State pulls it out.
Oh, man! If we go to 2-point conversions, I don't think I'm going to be able to handle that.
Dude, that'll be a stressful time. My heart might give out.
All right.
But anyway, George, you just want to give your fantasy a little update real quick?
Yeah, let's.
Quick fantasy update from over here in George's corner. I played in 5 fantasy football leagues this year. 2 leagues did not go as planned.
All right.
Both of those leagues I had Javonte Williams, I believe. Or did you have Javonte?
I had Devontae.
You had Javonte in that league?
You can't take my blunder.
Who did I have in that league?
Whatever. Just tell
Yeah,
you.
just
Just
go.
Those
let's
two,
go,
forget
let's go.
about those leagues.
Let's go.
Because in the
Let's go.
other 3 leagues, your boy is playing for the championship. I made 3 out of 5
Well,
championships. I am guaranteed to clear the fantasy. If I lose all 3, I'm guaranteed to clear positive net green on the fantasy football season, which I think I could proudly say in my 6-7 years of fantasy football has never happened. And I think there's something to be said here about me drafting the team similarly. Jerry Jeudy is on a number of these teams. Devontae Smith is on a number of these teams. Ramondre Stevenson's on a number of these teams. Gerald Everett, who laid a goose egg this week, is on a number of these teams.
He wasn't on the team you played me though.
Who's on that team that I played you?
I don't even remember.
Yeah, it doesn't. Wait.
Wait, we gotta look.
We
real
got
quick.
if you have. If
I
you,
just beat James in the semifinals.
That was
If you-
I mean, I had
If
Stephon
you need-
Diggs and
George, if-
Ramondre Stevenson go for a combined
final question
7,
on your
so.
fantasy, George. If you need one guy to perform for you this week, who's it gotta be?
It's my main man. Number 2 from the Cleveland Browns, Amari Cooper,
Oh.
who's a starter on
With those
2 of those 3 teams.
with the best 2 safeties in the league. Are you
Hey,
sure,
two top-
George?
top five, top five.
Devontae Smith is also a starter on 2 of those
Our
teams.
top corner's also back. He was out.
Ooh.
And so
Cooper's gonna be locked.
I'm not too worried
Well,
about
it's a-
Washington's top
Well,
corner.
it's an away game, and Amari Cooper has only played one away game this year, so I'm pretty confident that he won't do well.
I'm pretty confident. We're going to get into this very shortly, but
No, but
Devontae Smith won me 2 fantasy football
he won you this play.
semifinals.
He won you your game against me.
Yes.
he won you that.
And he also won me another game. He scored like 32.
Yeah. No, he-
So Devontae Smith and Amari Cooper, 2 players I'm going to be keenly watching this next weekend.
No, but great job, George. Great
Yep,
job overall.
good job on your
You know,
season.
we had a good game.
We had a barn burner.
We did. I got unlucky with a few guys busting. You had a few guys boom. It happens, but we had a good matchup. It was tight till the end.
And
I
so-
made a huge managerial mistake against James in starting Bam Knight over Alvin Kamara twice.
I started Bam this week.
The first time I did it because I thought I was onto something, and the second time I didn't realize he was in there.
But we've got more actual news in the NFL. Get out of the realm of fantasy.
Let's run through some of this real quick.
Yeah. We can go kind of quick on a few of these.
And I think this first one, I just saw a lot of rumors of it, so I kind of wanted to see if you guys, I guess just ask the legitimacy of this. I saw a lot of Twitter rumors last night. I saw the things in the Twitter sphere about a certain duo meeting up down in New Orleans.
I'll shut this down right now.
Ooh,
Sean Payton's not going back to Nolan's.
he's not?
No. They fired him a year ago.
They didn't fire him. He
Or
retired.
he retired a year ago.
Yeah.
He retired the same way Ohio State's president's stepping down.
Yeah,
No, I think it's much
Yeah, but
different. I
that-
think they would have kept Sean
And
Payton.
I don't mean to be like this, George. Let's look at their year this far. I mean, I get that you just beat the Browns, which is
Big. That's a big win, man.
that's huge.
Signature.
Oh yeah, real big win. Oh yeah.
It's going to be a real big win for you next
Oh,
week.
it's gonna be a
Aaron.
huge one for
It's
us.
gonna. I hope it's gonna be a necessary win for me in a couple of weeks.
Um,
I hope y'all better not fucking kill us.
We're going to ruin 2 seasons in 2 weeks in a row. Right here and right here.
My boy Jonathan Allen's coming.
I'm going to shut this down right now. Peyton's not going to Nolans.
What about Tom? What about Tom Brady?
Tom's not going to Nolans.
He's not.
Ain't going to Nolans.
No, I
Where's
don't
he
think-
going?
I
Tom
don't-
Brady would only go to an immediate contender.
I low-key think there's a chance Tom Brady goes to San Fran. I could see him doing it.
That's one. I think the other one's the New York Jets.
He could. Realistically, that
I don't think he goes anywhere. I think he stays in Tampa or he retires.
I mean,
Wait,
I
wait.
was talking before.
hear me
the
out.
show.
There's a
Shits
lot
and
of-
giggles of this
No,
podcast.
Here's my prediction. I can think of a team he's already been on that could probably use a little quarterback.
They're not going back to Tom.
I mean,
Bill and Tom. Gronk even said he's trying to come back. Gronk's on Twitter saying he's coming back. Gronk, Brady, and Bill are gonna get back together in New England.
Let me tell you a hilarious interview from Gronk this week, real quick, that I saw on the Twitter sphere. An NFL team. The comments were convinced it was the Raiders, but I can't confirm or deny that. Offered Gronk a huge to unretire for the second time, a huge amount of money, as well as jersey number 69 So every time he came onto the field, because it's a lineman number, the referee would have to go on his microphone and say, number 69 is an eligible receiver. Every single play.
That's kind of beautiful.
That's incredible. But I think one thing that I jokingly said the night that actually could be a realistic possibility is I could see the Tom staying in Tampa, but them taking out the entire coaching staff aside from the OC and then just putting in Sean Payton and Fangio.
Sean to Tampa is more likely than Sean to Nolans.
Yeah, I'm saying that could be a thing. I could see Tom getting on the phone being like,
Well,
listen, man,
I'm just
I
saying,
need some help.
I saw a lot of specific things pairing these two to New
I
Orleans.
mean, I think the Saints
and there
do
was
still
there was
have
an
Peyton's
insider
rights.
man who, quote, had their finger on the pulse. That's what it said. That's what the Twitter quote said.
I mean, it could be, but we've talked about this.
see
Let's move on to
this
the
is
JJ Watt.
yeah, this is a
retirement.
big one.
Big one.
This
Yeah.
is as
incredible.
as the team who has the remainder of the Watts that are not going to be in the NFL. It is sad to see.
He might move to Pittsburgh.
He could.
Oh,
He
Be-
probably
be with
will.
the brothers.
Can we get him under? Can we get him to retire in here? Maybe?
Get him a good coach to D-line.
Oh, I'd take it at this point. They need to learn how to block run a little bit.
I'll tell you what, J.J. Watt, this is also an insane stat. I saw this. He's 7-time first-team All-Pro, but only 5-time Pro Bowler.
But
Yep.
wow, that's
Doesn't make sense to me, but that is true.
Well, I guess
Walter Payton, Man of the Year, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, has, I think
Were
he
those
has
all back to
some...
back?
No. 2014, 15, and 17, I
Oh,
believe.
I was gonna say because they're
well, you said 2014 and 15.
And then 17.
Yeah, but he had
he had,
two back
15,
to
he had
back.
14, 15 back
Yeah,
to
but
back.
he said were they
That's
all
crazy.
back-to-back?
Yeah, no, were they back to back to back? But like
No, but still, two back to back is really
for a
insane.
for half a decade, this dude might have been the best player in the NFL.
It was, yeah.
For-
He's probably, I mean, arguably aside from Aaron Donald, the best defensive player
And
I've seen play.
Also, got to
In
put
his
it out
prime.
there, Walter Payton, Man of the Year.
Yeah,
When
no,
Houston had that terrible
Oh.
flood, he got like $71 million donated to the city of
I
Houston.
mean, he still does stuff for
Delivered
Houston,
a bunch
right?
of water. Yeah,
Yeah, no, he's beloved in Houston. Like
Oh,
the dude is just
Houston
a great,
legend.
great player, great person. He's gonna be missed in the NFL.
And you got to remember, this is the guy they booed on draft night. When they drafted JJ, they booed. They
Yeah.
booed loudly.
yeah.
But-
And this guy became like essentially
Mr.
a home
Houston.
I mean,
a
he's a-
hometown
I mean, he's a
hero.
Hall of
like,
Famer, I
Yeah.
mean.
first ballot unanimous Hall of Famer, J.J. Watt.
But it was a good.
So
it was-
congratulations, J.J. on an incredible
Yeah, no,
career.
Yeah.
I hope you have a nice.
Congratulations.
I hope you go back to your log cabin in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
I mean, I think he just had a kid this year. So
He just had a baby. It was
Yeah.
his baby's first ever NFL game. They brought the baby to in his last ever home game. He posted pictures. It was TJ retweeted it on Twitter and put a little crying face.
Yeah, I mean, good for JJ though. Hope he enjoys the family life. Now,
Yeah, I mean, he had that heart scare earlier this
No,
year. You
no.
have to think that's why he's retiring.
It's not even
I would
that.
think-
He's dealt with so many injuries.
no,
that-
yeah, but when your heart just stops at
Oh,
practice, I think.
oh
that's a-
yeah, no,
that's
that's the
a
big
different,
one.
That's a different
yeah,
element.
But not even if that didn't happen, your body is
No,
got to be
yeah,
a question
I
at
mean,
this point.
and
And he's playing great football right
Yeah.
now. That's the worst part.
Yeah, I mean, hey, at least he's ending on a high note. A lot of guys kind of end on sour notes, so
No,
at
and
least
that's
he's finishing at
that's
the top
always
of
like I
his
say
position.
the way James Harrison ended. Like I always, if James would have retired at this point in the career on the JJ timeline, like he had those couple of years where he went to New England after, and he just didn't perform as well. And I think he was even back on the practice squad, which was just like sad for me to see, you know, because his whole story was he came off the practice squad and to be as good as he was in Pitt.
The circle of life.
Yeah,
So-
no, but
yeah.
he still lifts like crazy though.
Yeah,
But I think again, kudos to JJ.
yeah, no, congrats, JJ. But let's move on to a personal,
Yeah, this is
personal breaking news of mine is that Carson Wentz today was named the starter for the Browns game.
How does that make you feel, Georgie?
That makes me feel extremely excited.
I mean, here's the thing with it, right? Like, this decision was coming for a long time. I've talked about it on this podcast ad nauseum for a while. I've said, like, they've just been waiting for the opportunity to do it. And it makes sense on a long-term position, right? You gave up 2 draft picks for him. You have him technically. You can cut him after this year for nothing, but you technically do have him under contract for 2 more years. You want to have an evaluation of him. You know, Washington hasn't been scoring with Heineke. They average about 18 to 19 points a game with Heineke, and that just isn't enough to win you a lot of games. He's done, like, it can win you some when you have a good defense, but when you have to score, they can't score. And Wentz does have a better arm. The offense is different than when he was playing. I think in the short term, staying with Heineke would have been better for them, but maybe they know something I don't. Maybe Wentz knows the offense better. He's going to get the ball a lot faster. They are running more of a run-heavy scheme now with behind play action than just dropping back, so maybe that helps them too. I don't even know.
I'm rooting for Wentz.
I mean, listen, I will say this about Wentz. He's gotten a lot of crap for him being in Philly and him being in Indy. And while he's been in Washington, he's been nothing but a stand-up dude. Been a great leader, said all the right things. The locker room seems to like him. They like Heineke more, but I think Heineke's just a better leader than him. But he hasn't done anything wrong. So, he's getting an opportunity to start. This is his career right here. These next 2 games are his career. If he does not perform well, he is going to be a backup in this league, or he's just going to be a guy who's fighting for a starting job somewhere else. But, he's not going to be a franchise QB anymore. If he performs in these 2 games, it takes Washington to the playoffs. He is going to be able to solidify himself again as a franchise guy. Not saying that I would like him to be the permanent franchise guy, but he's playing for his career. There's desperation in that, and maybe that makes him play better. He looked good in the 49ers game for the quarter he played, so good luck to him. Hopefully he does well.
That's not the only QB news we got, because we got another benching for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Who are they playing over him?
Jarrett
Stidham.
Did this dude murder someone? I don't know much about this one, so I don't have much to say, but I don't like this. Fire Josh McDaniels. Get that dude out of Vegas.
I don't think they have the money to fire him.
Get that dude out of
This
Vegas.
is sort of what I was talking about at the end of our Steelers talk. Everyone's being real critical of Derek for his 3 interceptions and throwing that game away and having 50% completion rating. It was a cold-ass game and your receivers are tipping the ball like it's volleyball. What are you going to fucking do?
Josh McDaniels is not a good NFL coach.
And if you,
I agree.
Here's my question: Are they eliminated from playoffs now? Is that why they're doing it?
Technically, no.
And so that's my question: if you still have a playoff chance, This is throwing. You've waved the towel. You've waved the towel.
No, that's what I mean. This is terrible for the locker room. This is just saying okay, this
Derek Carr's
done.
such a leader, dude.
No, he's the only reason that team turned their season around. I mean, if you
Derek
remember,
Carr took a locker room full of cons, and there was a point where the Raiders were having someone get arrested every weekend.
Yeah, that was something.
Damon Arnett, Henry Ruggs.
The Henry Ruggs thing was freaking insane.
They had Antonio for a little bit.
Antonio, dude.
I mean, they had the John Gruden thing happen during the year.
Yeah. Derek Carr's a goddamn guardian angel to that team, and you're gonna bench him for Jarrett Bum Stidham?
No, it's
well, again, the reason has to be they don't think they can make the playoffs.
But the thing is, as a coach, you should never be telling your team we're out of it until you're actually out of it. That's a terrible message. That's so bad.
If they win out, are they in control of their own destiny?
No,
that's my point. Is
But the thing is unless an injury thing comes out that they're not saying.
No, but you talked about too. Their line is really bad. Do you want to risk Derek Carr getting hurt for a 2% chance? I mean, at the Super Bowl or at a playoff appearance.
But it's still the messaging, dude. It's your first year as a coach. They've had locker room issues all year. I mean, literally, Derek Carr in a press conference was crying because of how angry he was at this team not buying in, and so
Derek Carr's going to try to find somewhere new.
I said this before the podcast. Derek Carr deserves to be traded because he doesn't deserve to deal with the Raiders organization. That man is
he
too
brought
good
them
of a QB.
out of poverty. He took them from a poverty franchise.
I mean, that dude was going to win an MVP before he broke his leg, and he still hasn't even played bad after he broke his leg. He's
a manager. He's a good game manager. He gets the ball down the field, and sure, he's always had some decent receivers to throw the rock to. But if you use the tools you have, and he's proven he can win games.
No, he is. And, I will say, I've been a big proponent of Washington trading for Derek Carr for years. If this is the year it happens, I will be very excited.
Let's skip ones to come back to that one. We're gonna stick on the QB topic because I don't know as much about this one.
Let's do this one quickly. I have a strong take on this. I think it's the correct take, and let's run through this real quick. Tua has a new concussion. Officially diagnosed. Don't think he's playing this week. Tua Tagovailoa should not play American-style football
again
the rest of this year, at least.
Okay.
At least.
I mean, dude, he's had 3 concussions in 3 months. He might just need to retire at this rate.
We've seen from Demaryius Thomas. Demaryius Thomas, while they won't say it on the public media, the notion is he kind of died from CTE. CTE heavily impacted how he passed away, 33 years old. This is something that's serious, that's life-threatening, and life is bigger than this game. It's bigger than this season for the Dolphins. If you have to go and lose your playoff spot or lose in the wild card round to save this dude's like ability to think when he's 35.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, guys, I know he has heart. I know he wants to get out there and play, and he's like made that obvious. And I like
Yeah, but he's
commend him
also
for
like
that.
a bright kid. Like you got to remember, this is a young dude.
He's such a nice dude.
He's a nice
He's a
dude.
nice guy.
Everyone
Like,
likes him, from what I understand. Like, he always. I feel like every time I see him in a press conference, he's like smiling.
Yeah.
You know, like.
But I mean, he should not play football this year. It's
I agree.
as
No,
simple as that.
it was. I said that after the last one.
They're not like
Yeah.
little
I said that
concussions.
after
These are
the-
3 violent concussions.
No.
We
Yeah.
had this conversation on the podcast a few weeks back where we all said the same thing. Where it's like, this is scary, and the more you get, the more likely you are to get
Yeah.
more.
No, yeah, and I mean, I think the thing with it too, George, is like I just think you're right. Like he is having a serious injury now happen 3 times in the span of like 3 to 4 months. It's dangerous.
Yeah,
it's not
less.
smart. It's
Like-
less. It is detrimental to your long term health, and like you said,
But it's
you're-
detrimental to your short-term health.
Yeah,
You could be dead at 35.
yeah. I mean, it's just. I mean, I'm not saying he should retire full time from football, but I think he should consider it at this rate. I mean,
At least at minimum the rest of this season.
yeah, I mean, like, I'm not a big Tua guy anyway, and I'm not saying this from, like, a point of, like, oh, Tua's so bad he can't play in the league. He can play in the league. It's just, I don't think you risk it. You can still be around football and not play
No,
and actually have a life.
And here's the thing too, like everyone's saying, whether or not you're big or not on Tua as like a franchise guy or a long-term quarterback option, he gets the stuff. He has brought the Dolphins to where they are now, and I think a very important thing is I would put him at probably average, middle. I'm not gonna say he's a superstar. I'm not gonna say he's terrible.
Yeah,
Very functional.
My point is, you should be able to put a backup in. The point of your backup is to be functional, and if you, the backup is Teddy Bridgewater, like. He's played games before. He's been to playoffs even, right?
I believe.
yeah, I think,
And so that's what my point. My point is I understand wanting to have the best chance possible. Teddy's not the worst chance possible.
No, and I mean, at the end of the day, it's just about him as a person. Like, dude, think about your long-term health.
Yeah.
Like we like none of like maybe not all of us are like Tua lovers or Tua haters, but like we just want this dude to not be completely hurt for the rest of his life.
I think the head coach in Miami is smart enough to do that.
Yeah.
Especially with how forward-thinking he is with stats. I'm
100%.
hoping he can be forward-thinking with
right.
the field of medicine in football as well.
I hope so. But
All right, let's wrap this last one up. real
Last
quick.
one up again. I don't. But it sounds like the Broncos are in full meltdown mode. Alarms going off. Red alert. Red alert.
I can't remember a NFL coach being fired with 2 weeks left in the season. You usually wait till the end. Okay, we're not going to find someone to coach the next 2 weeks. Like, yeah, just get just
Yeah,
finish
I mean,
it out and then bye.
yeah, it's usually either the beginning or the middle.
And the Broncos released a statement saying, "We're so over this guy." I'm paraphrasing, obviously. We're so over this guy that we want to start our search now because we know there's no way on God's green earth he's coaching this football team next year.
No, and I really think everyone, to me, I think everyone knew that Nathaniel Hackett was going to get fired, right? I think we all knew at the end of the year he was gone.
Broncos have not had the purtiest of
But
seasons.
I think what really made them do it was just having that atrocity of a game aired on national
You got
television
blown
for
out
everyone
by
to
a
see.
4-10 team.
and
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield.
And everyone saw it. It's
And a
not like
quarterback that signed there 3 weeks ago
and it's not like it just happened like
on Christmas.
Yeah, it's
when
not like
Patrick
this just
starts
happened
making
in
fun
like
of your
one
team,
channel.
you get fired.
Like this wasn't like one local area game. This was everyone
Christmas.
was watching this game. You have to fire him after that.
All right, let's run through this real quick. Pick your Bronco. Who should the Broncos hire next for their head coach?
I don't know.
I mean, do you have one off the bat?
I got one. His name's Sean Payton.
That
But
could be-
but should and will. I don't think
Yeah.
Peyton's going there, bro.
The Broncos have a roster, dude.
I don't think they do.
They're going to have a stud young running back come back next year. They have Russell Wilson's a Super Bowl MVP. The dude, well, I know he sucked this year. There's something to work with there. They have good receivers in Sutton and Judy. And then their defense has been playing lights out almost all year.
I mean, I think Judy and Sutton are overrated,
Oh,
but
dude, Judy's been playing great ball.
he's been
How
fine.
How long is Doug's contract with his network he's on?
So wait, Doug who?
Peterson.
Doug
Doug's
Peterson's
the
the
coach of the
Jaguars
Giants.
coach.
Which Peterson's on the fucking pod? I feel like I see one talking on the show all the time. I think he has someone else.
You might be thinking of
Like
someone
someone
else.
else.
I mean, I just
fucking looks
I mean
like him.
honestly I just think Sean Payton wouldn't put himself in that situation because Russell Wilson has regressed so much in a year. It is like there have been QB regressions everywhere, but like the fact that this has happened, and I think their O-line's bad. I think the receiving room is good. It's not great. It's good. They have a good running back. I like Javonte Williams, but he's coming off an ACL. That's not a great injury for a running back to come off of. I think if they're going to hire someone, they might just hire internally and hire Evero, their defensive coordinator.
They're not going internally, dude.
They wanted Evero to be the interim coach, and Evero said no.
Yeah, that means he's not taking the permanent one.
No, I think Evero is doing that because he doesn't want to get blamed for, like, they're going to lose their next 2 games.
Yeah,
I think he's doing it so that he doesn't look bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
don't think they go internal.
I think they hire Evero. That's who I think,
I don't know NFL people enough,
but
obviously.
yeah, but I
I
don't
can see
really.
him going at Dan Quinn.
Actually, Dan Quinn, they did. It was between Hackett and Quinn the last time around, so they could just hire Dan Quinn.
Could go Dan Quinn.
Screw it.
And
Bring in
actually,
T.O. Bring in T.O.
on the Cowboys right now,
Prime
with
time.
Dan Quinn is Russell Wilson's old offensive coordinator, Schottenheimer.
Ah.
So, or he's not the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. Obviously, he's
Or
like
the
he's like a
QB
coaching
coach or
analyst or
something,
something.
yeah.
But like, I mean, it is realistic that Quinn could go to Denver. I mean, he has a rapport with Russell, and they do have a coordinator who. I think his name's Mark or Robert Schottenheimer. It's not Marty Schottenheimer, but it's his other brother. His last year as the OC in Seattle was when Russell had his like MVP level season. So I mean that could be a possibility if you want to try and fix the Russell Wilson, which I don't know if he is fixable, but
All right. We're ready to move on to this last part.
But I think, with that, we can move out of our breaking news. Now we can start looking forward. I don't have that many. I wasn't really sure. I'm going to be honest. Looking down the schedule, I didn't see that many.
It's not that big of a
great.
league.
No, and that's what I was going to say. But I found 2 matchups. One that I think
big
is a
one.
really big game,
Yeah.
just with 2 sluggers. And the other one, which I think is a pretty important, that's divisional, right?
I mean this is playoff implications.
Playoff implications.
Playoff
in that
implications
game.
and divisional, right?
Yeah.
Miami's sitting at like the 7th seed right now. New England's like first team on the bubble.
Yeah, I think they're like
that's,
the 8th
and that's
seed,
what I'm
technically.
saying. 'Cause so we've got 2 games here, and I think both. If y'all want to lead us into either one
Yeah,
of
just
those, I think
go through these real quickly. I like Cincinnati over Buffalo.
Really.
I do too.
The Bengals are red hot.
This might be a hint for my bets, but
It's also a hint for my bets. I haven't
them
written. No little foreshadow on the podcast here. I like the Bengals here. Man, they've already taken down the Chiefs. The Bills have struggled against good teams that they've played. I mean, they've won some games, they've lost some. They've been close games.
No, that's
The Bills are 3-2 against teams with winning records. Like they're not. The 3 wins are not close. Like they're not blowouts. Like
the Bills
I mean,
remind
a
me.
close game with the Chiefs.
The
is a good
Bills
game.
remind me of what
Sure.
the Steelers were back when they were good with Ben Brown and Le'Veon. They do really good against the bad teams and blow them out. But when you start getting against the teams that actually are decent, that's where you start not competing.
And the Bills are a little weakened at pass rusher right now, and that's how you beat the Bengals. So I like the Bengals, man. James, what are you thinking?
Sounds like you don't like this.
I like
steak,
Buffalo in this game. I think in general it's going to be a good game. I think
Oh,
it'll be.
yeah,
I think
it's
it'll be.
gonna be
I
a
think
good
it'll be a one-score game. This could honestly be the AFC Championship game. Like this could be just a
it
preview.
could be for the 1 seed too.
Yeah, it could be for the 1 seed as well. Like,
Buffalo probably gets the 1 seed if they hang on to this.
yeah, I think Buffalo wins. Lyle Collins is out for the year. I think that's huge for
That is
Bengals.
big.
I think that's a big
Now,
blow for
to
them.
be fair, Leo, he's picked it up. He's their starting right
he's
tackle.
their starting right
Okay, I'm terrible. They had a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of-
Wow.
fine. It's
First of
fine.
all, he's right tackle, not left, so that's a touch less impactful there.
Still, it's your starting
And
tackle.
He's not played a great in a lot of games this year. So if you have a dude come in and not play great, he's doing the same thing Leo Collins was doing.
I mean, I don't know. I think you have a drop off, but I take
Oh.
Buffalo because I think Buffalo's like you said they're 3-2 in close games, but I think they do play.
Wait, where's this game at?
I don't know actually. I think it's
Where's?
I think it's in Cincinnati, isn't it?
That's what I figured.
But either way, the Bengals I feel like they're really good. I didn't like what I saw and how they had a huge lead and gave it away. Basically, like the Patriots should have won that game considering how much they.
It's in Cincy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think the Patriots probably should have won the game given how much the Bengals let them come back. I don't think that's a good win to come off of, and I think the Bills have just been playing more consistent football. And honestly, the Bills are 3-2 in close games. They should be 4-1. The Vikings game might be one of the like flukiest games I've ever seen of a Bills loss. So like I think the Bills I think they both have great teams. It's gonna be a close game. I would give the edge to the Bills because I think Josh Allen just can do more things than Joe Burrow. I think like athletic, he's just a different kind of player. So I would just give the edge to the Bills. But like it could easily be that that the Bengals win. Like it can go either way. But I would give it to Buffalo. I think they have a better overall team than the Bengals, and I think the Bengals are coming off of a very dicey win. And I like Buffalo's win last week more.
All right. New England, Miami.
And another. This is again a big important one divisionally, a big important one for the playoffs.
Give me New England.
Who's starting at QB for New England?
Probably Mac Jones.
Probably.
Yeah,
Mac.
George, I'm with you. I take New England here.
I like. Give me Bill.
This is another hint. This is another hint here.
I like Bill
I mean, it's a game.
in playoff situations against an in-division opponent that he's super familiar with Tua out.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tua out's a huge thing.
Tua in, I picked the Dolphins. Tua out, I picked the Patriots.
Yeah, no, I think the Dolphins needed to win last week against the Packers. That was a bad loss for them. I think they're kind of spiraling. Now Tua's probably going to be out. He should be out, like we said. He should not play.
I don't think he's playing.
I would give the advantage to both the Patriots defense, which has been a clutch defense. I mean, they didn't really even play that bad against the Bengals. I mean, they allowed up 22 points. It's pretty good. They have Matt Judon, who I think is leading the NFL he's like second in the NFL in sacks. So I mean, they have a good defense.
Highsmith still on top of that?
No. I mean,
He had a good week this week. That's why I was wondering
Nick
if he came
Bosa's
back.
leading the league in sacks.
Let's
I
go
think
look at
Judon's
the NFL
second.
sack leaders.
Yeah, I think it's Bosa then Judon.
Shits and giggles.
But I agree with George. I think the Patriots coaching staff in a playoff situation is much clutcher than McDaniels, who doesn't really have that experience as a head coach.
Yeah, your boy's not even in the top 5.
No, he's had a really terrible middle of the season.
Yeah, but Nick Bosa and Judon are 1-2, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, Bosa, Judon, Reddick, Garrett, Parsons.
Okay.
Where's
I mean,
Highsmith
yeah.
at?
I mean, Nick
He's at
Bosa's probably
7,
winning
actually.
Defensive Player of the
That's
Year,
right,
but
he's up there. He
but
was,
no, yeah, I
he
think-
was first for like the first 8 weeks.
I take the Patriots as well. Nider, do you have any thoughts on it? Or are you just going
That's
with
what I was
us?
gonna say. I sort of hinted at this a little bit in my earlier analysis behind Tua. I think Teddy Bridgewater is gonna come out here and play some ball as long as he's the quarterback that's supposed to be.
No, he'll. I mean,
I figured he should be.
he should be. Yeah.
And so, my point is, again, I think here's sort of the thing. As much as I just complimented Tua, I don't think Tua is anything particularly unique that you can't put something else in there and have a decent thing. And I think the coach, the stat man coach, he's going to plug Teddy Bridgewater's name and stats into his computer, and whatever formula he's got in there, he's going to find a game-winning strat. It's going to be in there. It might not be as pretty with Tua, might not be as good of a game, but I still think Miami, it needs this game, and they're going to figure out a way to pull it out.
Fair enough. All right. Well, I guess we
Here.
just move on to the favorite
We
teams.
can do mine first because y'all got a
Yeah,
little bit of
yeah,
battle.
yeah,
I can't.
yeah.
I don't
And
want
we'll
to
do
be.
Jacksonville first.
I can't
Yeah,
be.
okay,
I can't be in the
okay,
middle of these
okay.
two when this happens.
All
I
right.
don't
All
want
right.
But the Steelers Ravens. Here's the thing. My analysis is going to sound exactly the same as it was a bit ago. Here's the first question that matters this game: is Lamar Jackson playing?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's better for the Pittsburgh Steelers, in my opinion. It's like I said 2
Have you
weeks
seen
ago.
how bad Huntley's been playing, dude?
No, but here's
God.
the no. Look at the Steelers against the Ravens with Lamar Jackson, and look at the Steelers against the Ravens with backup QBs. I want that stat. You can pull that up.
You keep talking while I see if I can find
Look,
that
at, just
stat
pull,
somewhere.
look up Lamar's first. You'll be able to find Lamar's record versus.
I mean, just keep going.
But my point is, the Steelers win games they are not supposed to, and lose games that they're
he's
supposed to win.
He's 2-3 against the Steelers.
Okay. I mean, that's okay. That's a losing record.
That's
I mean,
my point is, I've watched us play Lamar a lot. He has never performed in a way that I was like.
I guess the one thing about the Steelers I will say is Lamar is coming off an injury, so
He's
maybe
coming
he
off-
won't be to move as well. So that could definitely be
Lamar
helpful.
always finds a way to throw the ball to Pittsburgh like 3 times.
I would also take the Steelers in this game, honestly, just because
The Steelers are hot. Kenny Pickett just had a clutch. I think at the end of the game we could just take that last drive and make that our normal playbook. I think we could put like 30 points in a game.
You guys are playing for something. They've already clinched the playoffs,
and that's the other thing.
I think desperation for teams that are well coached can be a
I don't
huge
mean to
motivator.
watch. I'm going to tell you exactly how this game's going to go because it goes one of 2 ways. The Steelers are either going to get fucking blown out, or
They win tightly.
no.
They ain't blowing no one
No,
out. I'll
no,
put
they're not
money
going
on
to
the
blow.
table right
They're
now.
not
They
going
ain't
to.
blowing
No,
no
they're
one
not
out.
going to blow them out. They're going to start blowing them out early, and they are going to bench Lamar because they're going to be like, oh, we don't need to win this game, and then the Huntley is going to lead a comeback.
This is a dysfunctional prediction.
It is because you watch how accurate it is. The Steelers,
All right, we're gonna clip it.
clip it,
Clip it.
because I'm telling you, the Steelers just don't know how to play a normal game of football. It's not in our playbook. It doesn't exist there, and we don't got Franco watching us this week. But here's the thing. Just like I said last time, I picked the Ravens last time because I knew it. I'm picking the Steelers this time because Lamar Jackson is starting. That is the reason the Steelers will win.
All right,
Next game.
let's make this real quick. Jacksonville versus Houston. I think we're all riding Duval, right?
Oh,
we're right a little.
I mean, listen. Here's the thing. Duval. Here's the thing too: is Jacksonville lost to Houston earlier this year, so I think they got a bone to pick too.
Oh,
Bone to pick, playoffs on the line, and also this game does not matter
To Houston.
mathematically. Jacksonville could win this week. Tennessee could lose. Whoever wins the Week 18 games going to the playoffs. Vice versa is the same. They can both win. They can both lose. This game actually does not matter for Jacksonville. I think they're still going to play hard.
Yeah.
And I still think they're going to win. But mathematically, this game does not
Yeah.
matter for Jacksonville.
You know, I mean, honestly, in my opinion, Jacksonville just shouldn't even prep Houston. They should just be prepping Tennessee.
No, but here's my thing. I think it's a big blow to the locker room to lose to the Texans.
I mean, yeah.
They've only done it once.
I mean, yeah, they've recovered.
Particularly to go 0-2 against a division when you're supposed to be hot.
I
and
think
good.
Jacksonville comes out, plays everyone, goes and tries to win the game.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I
sure.
mean, I think so too. I think they win. I'm just saying, like, if you're Doug Peterson, you are prepping for Tennessee right now.
Yep.
All right, and I
All
got
right,
a
here.
quick one, but here
The game.
Sorry, I'll get out of
The game, the game.
Let's get a little closer to this microphone here.
All right.
you guys can fight.
The Steelers fan has left the stage.
It is just two fans, a Commanders fan, and a Browns fan.
Let's do
I
this,
really hope
James.
this game doesn't tie.
Let's do this, James. James,
What's up?
I want you to give me 2 reasons you think the Commanders win on Sunday.
No. Start off 2 reasons why you think the person.
Oh, so
Oh.
compliment the Browns.
Yeah.
Compliment the Browns.
What scares you most on the Browns?
What scares me most on the Browns? Miles Garrett's definitely number one. Miles Garrett, definitely the scariest part of that team. I will say, like, he can easily impact the game by himself. One of the best edge rushers in the league, if not the best. That is the most terrifying part. The other thing that does scare me, I mean, it depends on if Stefanski actually runs the ball or not, but Nick Chubb is one of the best running backs in the league. So I will say, like, that is, like, if Nick Chubb gets going, if he has an insane game, it's going to be tough to win.
I have the exact opposite scare in James. I'm also scared of the jersey he's wearing.
My boy, baby!
Because if Jonathan Allen shuts down the run game, Cleveland doesn't win. We've been over this. If we can't run the ball against Washington, we won't win. It's as simple as that. That's what scares me the most. The reasons I think Cleveland's going to win.
Well, don't you have another reason? We gave two.
You get one.
Oh, wow, I gave two.
You gotta give 2.
Okay,
you have
let me
to-
think of
yeah.
another reason I'm scared of Washington.
This is so
Wow.
This is how you can tell how unrealistic the Browns' ideology.
I know,
is.
right?
Besides for that front 7 of the defense, nothing's too scary to me defensively. I don't. You're deep. Your secondary.
Think of a little man named Scary Terry.
But I'm not that scared of that because Carson Wentz is throwing him the ball.
Bro, Jahan Dotson and Carson Wentz have a better rapport than
I thought Heineke and Dotson were the ones who were ripping it together.
I mean, they have the last few games, but, like, Dotson has a much better rapport with Wentz because Terry didn't go to training camp for the first half of the year.
I'll say this: you guys have big play threat, and we've given up some big plays this
All
year.
right, thank you. All right,
There
thank
you
you.
go.
I mean, honestly, Washington has one of the best receiving corps in the league right now. I mean, top
Yeah,
3
but
receivers
our,
is really good.
our secondary's been locked down the last few weeks.
I mean, dude, Terry made Slay look bad. So
Yeah, I mean, you guys are good, but our secondary's been playing good, so I'm not going to say I'm scared for our secondary. But we've given up big plays this year.
Okay.
And you guys have the big play threat.
And this
All
is this is gonna be a good ass fucking game.
Why
Should
I
be.
think the Cleveland Browns are going to win this football game. I think for two reasons. I think, first of all, our glaring weakness is our run defense, and I don't think that's a super strength for Washington. I don't think they're a great one. I think they're maybe an average run team. We could handle maybe average. When we've been torn up is when we're facing, like, superstars in the backfield. Like, I know Eckler tore us up. I know he was catching a lot of balls, too. That's kind of how Eckler rocks and rolls. I'm trying to think of other games we've been torn up. The Falcons, for some reason, tore us up, and they were running the ball incredible that game. So, I think that because Washington's not the most proficient run team, our glaring weakness isn't going to be exposed to the greatest extent. And really, when we stop the run, we've won football games. When we can't stop the run, we've lost football games. So I think we could win the run game and win our run game and stop their run game. And I think that's what the game boils down to.
No, I mean, I was just looking this up for my own my own knowledge, but for someone saying that that the Washington run game isn't too great, I'm not looking at all their entire team stats on rushing, but like the last 3 games, 3 of the last 4 games, they've Brian Robinson has averaged over 4 yards carry. The only game he didn't was against the 49ers, which arguably have the best team in the league. So, but in 3 games, he has, in one of those he averaged 7.4, 4.6, 5.8. Man's a good running back. He gets very underrated. But I will say one of the reasons I think Washington is going to win the game is because they're going to lean on the run. Ron Rivera has been very clear with Scott Turner that I do not want you throwing the ball a lot. I want this to be a power run team that makes big plays off of play action. They're going to pound the ball with Robinson, Gibson, and their third string back, Jonathan Williams.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to do, and then they're going to play off play action.
I just don't see your offensive line as like this big menacing, I'm going to push you around.
Oh, they're not. Brian Robinson's just good.
Yeah, see, that's not why we don't lose because the running backs get a lot of time. We lose to a big menacing offensive line. If you had this one certain player, I'd be a lot more scared for next week, and his name's Brandon Sheriff.
I miss Brandon Sheriff.
If you guys had Brandon Sheriff at right guard, I would be more scared for next week than I am. I mean, I do think it'll be a close game. I'm not going to, the Browns going to go down to DC and kick their butts.
No, it'll be a close game. I mean, I also think aren't your guards are hurt, right?
No, we're good.
Isn't your center hurt? I feel like
center came back.
Oh, wow. All right.
Ethan Poisik's back.
Okay, all right.
So the O-line's going to be healthy.
I still think that one of the reasons I think that Washington is going to win this game is because they have, they're going to have Chase Young playing on basically a full-time, like a full amount of snaps. Maybe not like the full, but like he should be
between Watson moving and us hopefully running the ball primarily. I'm not too worried about a pass rusher, but
I mean,
that's the analysis.
You're not worried about 1. You're worried about 4.
Let's hear your general final takes on this. What do you guys both think the game? How do you guys think it's going to wrap up?
I think it comes down to whether the Browns can stop Commanders' run.
Yeah, I think
that's the biggest question mark of the game.
I think that for me, it's
we know the Browns are going to get something going on the ground. We know you guys might hit your big play. You're probably going to hit your big plays over the top when you need them. I think the game's determined, and we'll come back to this next week. Did the Browns stop the Commanders from rushing the ball effectively?
And I'll say on my end, I think, I didn't mention this, but I will say I think the game is going to be won or lost on whether Washington can limit the big plays from the Browns, because I think Watson does have the potential to make a lot of big plays. And while I don't think it's like the way the Browns should win the game, like I think they should win through their running game if they're going to win. If Deshaun Watson shows up and plays as a top 5 QB, we're probably not winning the game. So like if Watson gets it going, I think you guys win. Like that's definitely a scary. If you make big plays, that's a scary thing.
Yeah, and no, at the end of the day, I think this is going to be a really good game. If you want my honest opinion on it, I really hope the Browns eke this one out. Not trying to critique you, James. If the Cleveland's last week of football, the only thing they have to do is ruin the Steelers' chances of playoff hopes, they will win that game. That's my point. I need them to I want the thing they're saying to be like, oh, we can have a winning season. I want that to be what they're saying.
I don't think you can.
No, we have 9 losses.
Oh, shoot.
No.
We're the upset boys
God.
the next 2 weeks.
Oh,
the 2
no.
gentlemen to my left are going to be upset.
Never mind.
What's
I
your-
switch it. I think
prediction?
Scary Terry
for Scary Terry is gonna have 40 fantasy points. I think
Dude,
Carson
DB's
Wentz.
Denzel,
Carson
the
Wentz
la- the
has
last-
a career day.
The last 6 weeks, Denzel
I hope
Ward's
Carson
been
Wentz has a
playing
career.
Carson Wentz has a career day.
I will, George. I won't let you live it down if Carson Wentz has a career day against the
You
Browns.
You don't understand
You'll
the
never live
pain
it
and
down.
suffering I've been through as a Cleveland Browns fan, then. Because I've lived a lot down.
But yeah, we've got bets to get to.
So wait, do we want to make our predictions for the game?
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it's pretty
Well, I'm saying,
clear.
do we want to make a score prediction
All right,
or no?
let's hear it.
Browns close. Browns one possession game.
I
Final
think-
score. Final score.
I don't know. 21-18.
I think 24-20 Washington.
Okay, fair enough. All right. I'm gonna put that. I think it's literally gonna be like a 21-20.
It could
either,
very
like-
well
like,
could be.
It's gonna be a 1-pointer. And ultimately, I think again, not a lot of big games this week, but particularly for us, we've got some good either inter-podcast rivalry or just for me, some good AFC North football.
Yep.
Yep.
And so, even Jacksonville divisional football. You know, I think this is just a lot of
Good football week.
There's some decent there's some really good matchups this week, and then the rest of them are really like, nah.
Oh,
And so,
All right, we're coming up on time
moving,
here, so
But moving on to the bets, I just want to
Bets.
say, I had my bets locked in before the Derek Carr.
you could change
You could
them.
change.
Yeah.
No, before Derek Carr was benched, so I have a better line on one of the games that I was.
Oh,
Because the
no.
line dropped, so I have a better line on the because
Okay.
I'll start. I'll just start because I said this.
That's
now.
that's
Because
that's
my
fair. If you
first
want to use
bet
some
was-
old line, you gotta
Well,
announce it first.
Yeah, I'm saying my first bet because I wrote this down on Tuesday when I made my picks for the pick'em, like I always do. At that point, the 49ers were -6 versus Vegas. Now they're -10 because Derek Carr got benched today.
So you want the Raiders?
No, I want San Fran -6.
You're not getting a -6. We're
Yeah.
doing today's line.
What do you
he
mean?
locked it
What?
in.
I locked
He
it in. I
have it
locked
written
in.
down.
We always said if things get switched, then you just deal with it.
No, if this gets switched after the podcast,
Okay.
they're -10 now.
Nah.
As if they get switched after the podcast. You
Yeah,
can't say I saw the line
I gotta
on
say,
Tuesday.
I definitely agree with this line of reasoning more.
You can get them at -10 if you
Fine,
want
I'm,
them.
I'm still taking a -10.
All right,
Fuck
I
it.
they'll probably win by more than 10.
Jared Stidham is not going to be good against this team.
All right, James got the Niners.
So I want Niners
let's hear your
-10
four
versus
normals.
Vegas.
We'll hear your four normals.
Buffalo -1 versus the Bengals. Dallas -10 versus the Titans. I've got two -10 bets.
Oh, that never works out for me.
I just think.
I stayed under 7 this week.
And then my other bet is Carolina +3 versus the Bucks.
We're just negative. We're all against Tom Brady at this point.
I just think the Panthers have been playing really good,
And Tom hasn't.
And Tom looked bad against the third string QB. I just
Yep,
yeah.
I can go with my 4 because I'm in second place, and then you'll have to give your money lock first this
All right,
week. So
all
that's,
right.
but I've got some games here that I think I want to lock in. First, I hinted at it already. Give me the Bengals. I got +1.5 here.
I had them at 1.
I have 1.5 on
That's
Fox.
fine. We'll rock 1.5.
Yeah, I mean, I had Buffalo -1, so I guess I just get Buffalo -1.5 then.
Sure.
Sure, yeah.
So-
Miami, I've got +3,
Okay.
and I'm gonna rock them as well. I
Let
just
me
hinted
see.
at that.
I have to check see if any of my lines changed now. Oh my God! Yeah.
Give me my boys this week +2.5, Pittsburgh. And for my final normal pick, give me Baker Mayfield and the Rams +6.5
All right.
against
all
the
right.
Chargers.
Oh, you also have to change my Dallas over Titans because it's the lines at -12 now. And since we're not doing it when I actually put the
That's
because
fine.
I was prepared ahead of time, but I guess that doesn't matter now.
It doesn't.
So Dallas -12 versus the
there's a
Titans.
reason the lines changed.
I guess you're right. All right,
I'm never writing my picks down early again.
that's fine. That's fine.
You could still change them if you'd like to.
No, it's fine.
The big thing is though, George, it's now your turn now.
Well, I'm obviously going to lay it out for the boys. Brownies +2
That's easy.
Wow. All right.
down in DC. Give me the Panthers +3 against the Bucks. A little bit of steal there, but I had that one written down too. I like that
Yeah.
one. Give me the Eagles -6.5 in Nolans.
Okay.
think this
I
is
really
another-
like that
I'm gonna
one.
be honest. I'm really high on the Saints presently. I like watching Dalton.
That's bad.
I think
team.
this
I
is.
was- I don't know.
I think this is a. I think the Saints are a trap team.
Here's my rationale here. I got great rationale here. Do you know who has the Saints' first round pick this year? The
Yeah,
Eagles.
the Eagles have it.
The Eagles aren't only playing to keep their 1 seed. The Eagles are playing
to make their picks.
to make their pick better.
Yeah.
They don't have Jalen Hurts though, still, right?
Gardner Minshew's a dog.
Gardner Minshew.
Gardner Minshew would start
It
over
is
Andy
entire
Dalton and Nollins.
Sure,
He
it
probably
is
would.
entirely possible that Dalton could beat Minshew. Though
It is entirely possible, but it's
it's way more likely than it is of him beating fucking Hurts.
yep. So I'm rocking Eagles -6.5. Give me Cincy plus 1.5 against Buffalo,
Good pick.
and then my money lock.
Oh, you gotta do money
I've
lock,
got an
yeah.
interesting money lock this week. I don't think anyone's picked them for a money lock before.
Giants +6 against the Colts.
Fuck me. I have to go look again. I thought I was gonna be. I thought I was gonna be.
I mean, I can just give my money lock. If you'd
Yeah,
like
I'm sorry. I had no way.
all
There's
right.
no one's ever picked this before. I got it written down right here, boy.
All right, my money lock is the team that hasn't actually let me down yet this year. We're going Jags -4.5 versus the Texans.
I like it. I like it.
I mean, I just think that like it used to be 4, now it's 4.5. I just can't see them not winning by more than by a touchdown or more. I just can't. They're just playing so well. Trevor Lawrence actually looks good. The Texans are just terrible. Like I just can't see it.
Y'all called me crazy the last time I did.
Are you taking like? I mean, I've taken 2 like double-digit lines, so I.
Broncos country.
Oh my
Let's
God.
ride. Plus 12.5. The post-Hackett firing. Y'all made fun of me last time, and it was my lock of the week, and it won. Russell Wilson.
I think it was against the Chiefs too.
It was against the Chiefs.
Russell Wilson is soaring
They-
once again.
They were only spotted 9.5 the last time. Now you
That-
got them. Now you got
12.
12.5. That's what not firing Nathaniel Hackett will do for a man.
Well, or a terrible Russell Wilson on Christmas will do for a man.
Give me Broncos country. Give me Russell Wilson.
Oh, God.
He's going above the toilets. Not only above the toilets this week.
He's blowing the toilets
He's
out
blowing
of the
the
water.
He is.
All
All
right.
right, we're just going through them again real quick.
I wanted to pick something silly with the Giants. I was like, oh, nobody will pick the Giants for their money lock. And I'm like, all right, now I got to pick something
Dude,
even more
the
out.
Colts suck. And the
Colts
Giants
are
are
so-
playing for a playoff
No, that's what I
spot.
saw.
Yeah,
When I
that's
saw
it.
when I saw the Colt or
I kind of
Giants,
hate that line though, to be honest.
6.
It's a
Yeah, I
bit
kinda-
much. Yeah,
I just don't-
I wasn't comfortable with it, but
The Giants have never won a game by 6.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm saying.
like, they always win by like 3. It's really weird.
yeah, no. But at the end of the day, that wraps things up here with the neighborhood watch party. We know we do the scoreboards. We do it every day. We'll keep you updated next week when we get to it. Get a little Duval for the boys, and we're out of here. Goodbye. See y'all next week. Let's get it out. Let's get it out. Let's get it out. Where's it at? There we go.